Hey there, my awesome artists. So I just read to you Mouse Paint, and we learned all about our three primary colors, which are red, yellow, and blue. We learned just how special these colors are and why they are so special, because we use these three colors to make other colors, such as green and purple and orange, which those colors are called our secondary colors. So we use our primary colors to make our secondary colors. So that's why it's really important to know what your three primary colors are. That's why we're going to be making this super fun mouse paint art lesson. That way we can review our primary colors. All right, so what are you going to need for this lesson? Well, you're going to need a couple of white sheets of paper. If you want to have a colored background, then you can use a colored piece of construction paper. You're going to need something to color with, so I'm going to be using my markers, but you can use crayons, you can use colored pencils, you can even use paint. You are going to also need something to draw with, a pair of scissors, and some glue, since we will be doing some cutting and gluing today. All right, so the first part that we're going to be doing for the lesson is we are going to be making our little colors of splatter paint, just like our little mice did in the story. All right, and so the first color that I'm going to be using is red, and I'm going to make a wavy line, just like we had been learning about our types of lines. Well, we're going to be making a wavy line so that it looks like some splatter paint just kind of spilled on to the paper. And then using the side of my marker, I'm going to fill it in. So if I use the side of my marker, I can get it done a lot faster. And that way I'm not running out of marker that fast. So I'm just going to fill it in. I might have to turn my paper in different directions. That way it's easier for me to color. I might also have to rotate my marker a little bit too. All right, so I filled it all in, no white spaces. Okay, and now I'm going to move on to my second color, which is going to be yellow, and I'm going to make another wavy line on this side. And again, fill it in. I don't want to make my splatter paints too big, because then that's a lot of coloring and I don't want to run out of space. So you might not want to make them too big or too small. Okay, so I've got my red, I've got my yellow, and now I need my last primary color, which is blue. And same thing, wavy line, and fill it in. So when I color, boys and girls, I like to kind of work from one side to the other instead of just coloring all the way across. Make sure you color it in kind of just from one side to the next, like you're just working in little sections. That way you know that you're not forgetting to color in a certain part, and that way you don't miss a section and leave some white spaces. So it's always best to kind of work in little areas and work your way around. All right, so there are my three sections, boys and girls. We're gonna put that to the side. Okay, and we're gonna work on our mice. So we are gonna do that by drawing them on a separate piece of paper. Okay, and the way that we're going to do that is we're actually going to use our hand as a guide to help draw our mice. Okay, so using our hand, now if I place my hand higher up, then my mice might end up being too big. So I want to move my hand a little bit lower and closer to the edge. And I'm going to make a curved line, or kind of like a rainbow line. Okay, so I'm not going to draw touching my hands. I'm just going to kind of use it as a guide. Okay, so there's one, and we need 3. And if my mice are too big, then that's okay. I can always cut them and make them a little bit smaller. All right, so there are my 3 mice. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw on your mice. So here was one example of me just drawing on my mice. So everything was drawn. If you want, you can cut out your ears if you would like. All right, so it's up to you. I'm going to show you how to draw on your mice. So for that, I'm going to turn my paper, okay? And I have my 3 mice, and I'm going to give them some ears, some eyes, and some whiskers. Okay, so to make the ears on our mice, I'm going to make another little rainbow line. And some eyes, and some whiskers. Now I'm going to save some space right here for the nose a little bit later. So again, we're going to make a little rainbow line, some eyes, and whiskers. Okay, now our mice need some tails. So we're going to give them some tails by making some squiggly lines or a loop-de-loop line. All right, and there are our 3 mice. So inside my mice's ear, I like to give them the inner part of the ear. So I just make that pink. Okay, and there's our mice. Now we're going to go ahead and cut out our mice. And again, if I don't want them to be this big, then I can cut them a little bit smaller. You know what, boys and girls, all this paper is just getting in my way. So I'm going to cut them out like this, and I'm going to get this paper out of the way. Okay, so now it's easier for me to get to my actual mice. So if that helps, boys and girls, then go ahead and just get rid of all that extra paper and kind of cut your mice into little sections. And that way it's easier to cut your mice. You don't have to worry about all that extra paper. All right, so there are my 3 mice, boys and girls. I'm gonna go back to my paper, okay? And I'm going to glue on my mice, okay? Where these sections are, okay? Where I have the little splatter paints, all right? So I'm gonna get my glue, and I'm gonna do dot, dot, not a lot. Remember, too much glue can make our work a little messy looking. So try just to do dot, dot, not a lot. Stick those on where you want them to be. And then my last mouse is gonna go right here. Okay, and so I said we were saving space for our nose. So we're gonna make our noses right here. There we go. And there are our 3 mice. and our 3 primary colors. So if you want, boys and girls, another little fun thing you can do is you can cut out some little cheeses for the mice, okay, if you want. And I made little shapes, so these ones are squares, those ones are rectangles. On this example, I have the little circle shape, okay? Cheeses come in all different sizes and shapes. So if you don't have construction paper, and I also used a hole puncher, you may not have a hole puncher at home, and that's okay. So if you don't, you can always draw your cheese on your paper. So I'm just going to make some cheese on my paper. So that's also an option, boys and girls. If you want to draw your cheese on there, that's fine too. Triangle for cheese, circles, let's see, squares. Okay, so that's just an extra step if you want to add some cheese to your thing. And I'm just gonna add some details to my cheese. But it's up to you, boys and girls. If you have construction paper, you can do that as well. All right, boys and girls, so that is the lesson for today. I hope you had fun learning about your primary colors. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please don't forget to take a picture of your artwork and submit it in Schoology. I cannot wait to see your masterpieces. All right, guys, so I will see you next week. Bye.